So last night I was walking with my daughter. We were at the park and we were just finishing up our walk. And there's this new thing of people riding around like motorized, kind of scooterish little motorcycles around and stuff. See lots of the kids riding them, but there's this guy. He rides like an old school one. It's super loud. He's got the long hair flowing, and he's just like zooming around, and he's doing his thing. No big deal. But as we were kind of wrapping up and we were, putting stuff in my daughter's car and I was getting ready to say goodbye and stuff, he kind of zoomed by us as we were parked, and he was on the sidewalk, so there's no harm, no foul. And he looked over as he was passing behind the vehicle, and we were on the far side. So I just stuck my hand up and kind of waved. He looked back again, so I didn't think that he saw me, so I waved again. His bike started to get wobbly, and he stops it, gets off of it, and kind of like walks wide, and I can't hear him. I can't hear him. My hearing and eyesight, it's suspect at this point. But he says, I kind of got the like, what'd you say sort of thing. And I was like, I was just waving. And he said, oh. And then he gets back on his bike and takes off. He's like, oh, okay, So I didn't see it at the time because, again, my eyesight is suspect. But my daughter said, why did he have his hand in his backpack? Now, we can speculate. But the way I'm going to go with this is you can disarm people. And I don't mean in a martial arts Steven Seagal sort of way when somebody's got a gun pointed to you. How about disarm the situation before they even get to that point? Now, there are a lot of times where we cannot control what somebody's mental break has created. But that circumstance to me warranted exactly what it was. A quick explanation. There was no reason to try to match his potential bravado or match the ego or the confrontation by feeling like I'm being the weaker person by not being able just to say, hey, man, I was just waving. Because we know what that can turn into. What? What are you looking at? Or, yeah, so what if I was? It's not necessary. Not necessary. And you do that to protect not only yourself, but those around you. I had loved ones with me. And so even if I wanted to, which I had no qualm in saying, hey, man, I was just waving, just wishing you a good night. I had no qualm in that. But that's the disarming part. Because a lot of times they're tense. They walk around always looking for that fight. They're waiting. They always got their armor on. And to an extent, I understand it because I was that person at one time. But what we have to realize is armor is heavy. And if you are not in battle, then armor is just heavy. And it's not really protecting anything. It's just a way to walk around in a state of readiness for something that you really don't have to engage in. And so when we get to these points in life, for me, it was an easy one. It was very easy just to say, sir, I was simply waving. And we can get past a lot of our hurts, our traumas. We can get past a lot of our setbacks, our failings, things that our parents didn't teach us, things that our parents did teach us. We can get past a lot of those things. Because at some point in life, we've gone through a lot, certainly. But we also get to make a choice about what we're going to do about it. If we continue to be embattled or looking to be in battle, then that's where we're going to end up. And we've lost way too many people to the war of psychological warfare, the war that has conditioned us to believe that we are so different, that we have to almost still rely on a tribalism because we might look different or live in different areas or things like that. There's so much that we are still being conditioned into, and we have a choice. And you may have had a bad representation of somebody from another demographic, but they're not the only representation of that demographic. There's plenty of people in the world, and there's plenty of places to find new examples of people of different walks. So We don't have an excuse to say that one time in fourth grade somebody picked on me and therefore I don't like all these people. That is very short sighted, and you're forgetting that they were children too at that time. You're also forgetting a lot of times that they themselves were probably bullied, and hurt people hurt people. And so there's a lot of things to unpack and realize. So when we start to reflect, we reflect a whole picture. And hopefully we get to a point of reflecting rather than projecting. But I say all that to say, this was what I experienced last night, and it felt good. It felt good to be able to disarm somebody. And I don't know, he may have had a bouquet of flowers in there, but his posture, his tone, his willingness to jump off of almost a moving vehicle really said something different. So next time I see him, I'm going to stick my hand up and I'm going to wave. And if we ever get a chance to stop and talk, I'll make light of the circumstance. Like, hey, man, you had the drop on me. Let's just continue down that path rather than looking for the get back. Well, I'll wait until, he's not, ready or something. That's not what we want to do. We want to ascend. We want to have peace and progress, not just in our lives, but for the lives around us, even people we don't know. I want the best for everybody. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I hope that that's a sentiment that more people might be able to grasp just through listening to this short story. And I'm going to keep it short because I don't want to overtalk the point of it all. But we can disarm. And in a lot of cases, the first person we are disarming is ourselves. We're disarming ourselves from that need to feel like we have to bolster up and buck up to somebody. That's the first person you disarm. And hopefully the next person, through your disarming yourself, is disarming somebody else, potentially in traffic or whatever. Look, if you cut somebody off, just, wave and just say, my bad. We all know international languages. Sign languages of sorts that aren't really sign languages. That's my fault. Sorry. And let them get mad. Let them get mad. They've got something going on in their lives that we may not ever comprehend or understand. And even if it's just something simple, the fact that that's how they're coping with it means that it's something heavy on their minds. So I'm going to leave it at that. It's a short story, true story. But what do you guys think? What's your ace up the sleeve? What's your advice, your comment, your experience on something like this in disarming not only other people, but disarming ourselves first? The armor is heavy, and I understand because I wore it for a long time. And we don't have to, not in a lot of cases. And once we understand that, then I think we get to be in a better place, and hopefully that means a better place for those people around us as well. So I hope this finds everybody in your place, pursuit of beginnings of total health, mind, body, and soul. Peace, love, unity, solidarity, and as always, subscriptions and videos. So stick around.